I've never believed in superstitions, ghost stories, or anything that defies logic. I'm the kind of person who debunks conspiracy theories over coffee, who scoffs at chain emails promising curses or blessings. My world runs on reason, data, facts, things I can see and touch. But after the past week, my grip on reality is unraveling, and I don't know what's true anymore. Something is stalking me, slipping through the cracks of my life, and I'm terrified that writing this down will make it worse, like I'm etching an invitation into the void. But I can't keep it inside. I need to tell someone, anyone, before it's too late. This might be a warning, a confession, or a cry for help, but I'm running out of time. Here's what happened. It started with an email. I know it sounds like the setup for a bad horror movie, but this is real. It was last Tuesday around 2 a.m., and I was hunched over my laptop in my cramped one-bedroom apartment, a shoebox of a place in a quiet corner of the city. The air was stale, thick with the lingering smell of burnt toast from dinner and the faint metallic tang of the old radiator. My living room was a mess. Sagging couch with a faded throw blanket, coffee table cluttered with empty mugs and a half-read novel, a flickering kitchen light I'd been too lazy to fix, casting erratic shadows on the peeling wallpaper. The only sounds were the low hum of my laptop and the occasional groan of the building settling, each creak amplified in the late-night silence. My email address, j.doe1990@gmail.com, is one I've had since high school. A digital landfill overflowing with spam, old work emails, forgotten newsletter subscriptions, and receipts from impulsive online purchases I barely remember making. I was cleaning out my inbox, a mindless task to avoid sleep, when I found it buried deep in the spam folder. An email with no subject line, no sender name, just a blank address field. The timestamp stopped me cold. July 3rd, 2025, 4:15 a.m. That's tomorrow morning. I stared at the screen, the blue glow casting jagged shadows across the room, making the walls feel closer, more oppressive. It had to be a glitch. Gmail's servers mess up sometimes, right? But my gut twisted, a cold knot of dread forming. Curiosity got the better of me, and against my better judgment, I clicked to open the email. One line, stark and unadorned, no punctuation, no signature. You're not alone in your house right now. My breath caught, sharp and painful. The words hit like a blade, precise and cold. I live alone. No roommates, no pets, not even a plant to keep me company. The silence in my apartment was suffocating, the kind that makes you hyper-aware of every sound, every movement. I tried to laugh it off, spam, a prank, some bot phishing for a reaction, but your house and right now were too specific, too personal. My skin prickled, and the air felt heavier, like it was pressing against me. I pushed back from my desk, the chair scraping against the hardwood floor, a sound that echoed like a gunshot in the quiet. I checked every inch of my apartment, flipping on every light until the fluorescent buzz in the kitchen made my head throb. I opened closets, their doors creaking on rusty hinges, peered under the bed where dust bunnies gathered, checked the tiny bathroom with its dripping faucet and cracked tiles. My reflection in the smudged mirror looked wrong, pale, eyes too wide like a stranger staring back. Nothing was out of place. I triple-checked the deadbolt, tugged at the windows until my fingers ached, the cold glass rattling in its frame. I told myself I was overreacting, but the apartment felt alive, the shadows too sharp, the silence too heavy. Back at my laptop, I refreshed my inbox, ready to delete the email and forget it. Then it pinged again, the sound slicing through the quiet. Another email, same blank sender, same impossible timestamp. July 3rd, 2025, 4:15 a.m. Stop looking! You won't find me! My heart slammed against my ribs, a dull thud in my ears. The room felt smaller, the walls leaning in, the flickering kitchen light casting erratic pulses across the ceiling. I unplugged my laptop, thinking it was compromised. A hacker, a virus, something explainable. But my phone buzzed on the coffee table, the screen glowing like a beacon in the dim light, casting long shadows that seemed to twist and move. Another email notification, same sender, same timestamp. I'm closer than you think. Panic clawed at my chest. I dropped the phone like it burned me, my hands trembling as I picked it up again and dialed 911. The operator's voice was flat, almost bored, as I stammered through an explanation. Mysterious emails, impossible details, the suffocating feeling of being watched. She said it was probably spam, maybe a phishing scam, and advised me to change my passwords and call back if something tangible happened. Tangible? I wanted to scream. What's more tangible than this dread sinking into my bones, this certainty that something was in my apartment with me? I thanked her and hung up, feeling more alone than ever. I changed my Gmail password from my phone, enabled two-factor authentication, and restarted my router, the blinking lights mocking my efforts. But the emails kept coming, every few minutes, each one more specific, burrowing deeper into my life. Your kitchen light is flickering. You left a glass of water on the counter. I like the way you sleep. My blood ran cold. The kitchen light was flickering. A faint strobe I'd ignored for weeks. A minor annoyance now turned sinister. There was a glass of water on the counter, half empty, condensation pooling on the formica, glinting under the stuttering light. The sleep comment made my skin crawl. I hadn't slept yet, but the thought of someone watching me in my bed vulnerable was unbearable. I grabbed a kitchen knife, its handle cold and heavy, the blade catching the flickering light as I backed into the corner of my living room. I sat on the floor, knees pulled to my chest, the knife trembling in my grip. The apartment felt like a living thing, every shadow a threat, every creak a footstep. My phone buzzed relentlessly, each notification a jolt to my frayed nerves. The previews were worse than the emails themselves. You're gripping that knife too tightly. The clock on your wall is 2 minutes slow. I can hear you breathing. My cheap wall clock was 2 minutes slow. I'd noticed it days ago, but hadn't bothered to fix it. How could anyone know that? Was someone in my apartment, invisible, mocking me? Or was it my devices? My laptop, my phone, the smart TV I barely used. I yanked the TV's plug from the wall, the cord snapping free with a spark that made me jump. I powered off my phone, the screen going dark, but the silence was worse. The radiator hissed like a whispered threat. The wind rattled the windows, and I swore I heard a faint tapping, like fingers on glass, coming from somewhere outside or inside. The air was thick, charged with static, like the moment before a storm breaks. Desperate for answers, I powered my phone back on, the screen's glow harsh against the darkness. I opened a browser, my hands shaking as I typed into Google. Mysterious emails, no sender stalking. The results were a jumble of tech forums, cybersecurity blogs, and Reddit threads. I clicked on r/cybersecurity, skimming posts about phishing scams and malware. Nothing matched the precision of my situation. No one mentioned emails with future timestamps or messages that knew intimate details of their lives. I made a throwaway account, ScaredDoe90, and posted a vague summary. Getting creepy emails from a blank sender, knows things about my apartment, like where I leave stuff. Help? Replies came fast. Some were practical. Sounds like a targeted hack, check for keyloggers. Others were dismissive. Probably a prank, block and move on. One user, a non-watcher, sent a private message. Don't open any attachments. It's not a person. Delete your account and run. The message vanished before I could reply. The account deleted, leaving me staring at an error page. I kept searching, diving into darker corners of the internet. X-posts, obscure forums, a site called Digital Haunts that claimed to catalog unexplained online phenomena. An X-post caught my eye. Anyone else getting emails from no one? They know where I am, what I'm doing. Timestamps always tomorrow. I'm freaking out. The replies were a mix of memes and skepticism, but one user wrote, "Check your webcam. They're watching you." My stomach dropped. I slapped a piece of tape over my laptop's camera, the adhesive catching on my trembling fingers, but the unease lingered. Was someone accessing my devices, or was it something else, something that didn't belong in the world of code and circuits? I found a thread on Digital Haunts about digital entities, users claiming their devices were hijacked by something that wasn't human. One post chilled me. It starts with emails, then photos. It knows you because you let it in. Don't post about it. It finds you faster. I closed the tab, my heart racing, but the words stuck with me. At exactly 4:15 a.m. on July 3rd, my laptop screen flickered and went black, even though it was unplugged. The room plunged into darkness, the lights flickering out in unison, the radiator's hiss falling silent. My phone lit up, an email loading automatically, the screen's glow casting my shadow on the wall like a distorted specter. The email had an attachment, a photo. My hand shook as I opened it, the knife slipping in my sweaty grip. The image was of me, sitting in the corner of my living room, clutching the knife, staring at my laptop. The angle was from above, slightly to the right, as if someone or something was standing over me, just out of sight. My face in the photo was ghostly, eyes wide with terror, the same face I'd seen in the bathroom mirror hours earlier, now frozen in a moment I hadn't known was captured. I screamed and hurled the laptop across the room. It crashed against the wall, the screen shattering with a sound like breaking bones. The lights stayed off, the apartment swallowed by a thick, unnatural darkness that seemed to pulse with intent. The air was heavy, pressing against my skin, and then I heard it. A whisper, not from the room, but inside my head, clear and cold, looping like a corrupted file. "You invited me in." The words echoed, each repetition louder, more insistent, weaving into the creaks of the floorboards, the rattling windows, the faint tapping that now seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere. I scrambled to my feet, the knife still in my hand, and stumbled to the door. The deadbolt felt stuck, like something was holding it in place, but I forced it open with a grunt and ran into the hallway, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like a swarm of insects. I didn't stop until I was outside, the cold night air biting at my skin, the city silent except for the distant wail of a siren. I stood on the sidewalk, panting, my breath visible in the pre-dawn chill, the knife still clutched in my hand. I didn't go back that night. When the sun rose, painting the sky a sickly gray, I returned to grab my phone, wallet, and a change of clothes. The apartment looked deceptively normal. Same sagging couch, same flickering light, same glass of water on the counter, but it felt wrong, like the air was charged with static, like the walls were watching. I fled to my friend Sarah's place, a small house across town cluttered with her roommate's books, plants, and a guitar propped against the wall. Her dog Max, a scruffy mutt with soulful eyes, greeted me with a wagging tail, but his ears twitched, like he sensed something I couldn't. The house smelled of lavender candles and coffee, a stark contrast to my apartment's stale air, but it didn't feel safe. Nothing did. I thought staying with Sarah would help, but the emails kept coming. They're from my own email address now, like I'm sending them to myself. Each one time-stamped July 3rd, 2025, 4:15 a.m. no matter when they arrive. I tried deleting my Gmail account, but the system threw an error. Unable to process request due to pending actions. The previews alone are enough to keep me awake at night. My phone's glow a constant reminder of the intrusion. You look tired on that couch. Your friend's dog doesn't like me. I'm still here. I posted about it on X, a desperate thread under my throwaway handle, Scared Doe 90. Emails from my own address, knows where I am, what I'm doing, photos of me sleeping, help. The responses were a chaotic mix of concern and trolling. One user wrote, "Sounds like a rat, remote access tool, factory reset your devices." Another replied, "You clicked a bad link, didn't you? You let it in." A third anonymous account posted a single emoji, a pair of eyes. I deleted the thread, but the notifications kept coming, piling up until I muted my phone. I ran antivirus scans on my laptop and phone, Malwarebytes, Bitdefender, anything I could download, but they found nothing. I tore apart my apartment, checking for hidden cameras, ripping open cushions, inspecting vents. Nothing. I even checked, have I been pwned? My email's been in 3 data breaches, but nothing recent enough to explain this. Last night, another email arrived with an attachment. I didn't want to open it, but Sarah insisted we needed to know. She sat next to me on the couch, Max growling softly at her feet, his eyes fixed on an empty corner of the room. The photo was of me, sleeping on her couch, my arm dangling over the edge, the dog curled up nearby. The angle was from above, slightly off-center, as if someone had stood at the foot of the couch while we slept. Sarah's face went pale. "That's impossible," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "The doors were locked. I was in my room all night." Max whimpered, his hackles raised, staring at the same empty corner, his growls growing sharper. "I don't know what's doing this. I don't know how they got my email, how they're watching me, how they're taking these photos. I've scoured my memory for any sketchy website, any forgotten sign-up. My email's been out there forever. Job applications, dating apps, free trials, forums I joined as a dumb teenager. Did I click something I shouldn't have?" The latest email's final line haunts me. "You gave me your address when you signed up." I've been here ever since. I don't remember signing up for anything strange, but I've given my email to countless services over the years. Was one of them a trap? I posted on Digital Haunts describing the emails, the photos, the whisper. A user replied, "Sounds like you activated something. It's not human. Burn your devices and move." The account was deleted minutes later, leaving me staring at a blank screen. The internet feels like a trap now. Every search, every post, feels like I'm feeding it, like it's tracking my every keystroke. I've noticed things at Sarah's. My keys on the wrong hook, a window cracked open when I swear it was shut, a faint tapping from the attic at 3 a.m. Max growls at empty corners, his eyes darting to places I can't see. Sarah says it's stress, but I see the fear in her eyes. She doesn't sleep either, not since the photo. We've started taking shifts, one of us staying awake while the other rests. But even that feels futile. The air is thick, heavy with the scent of lavender and something else, something sour and unplaceable. The house creaks at night. The lights flicker like they're mocking us. The radiator hisses like a whispered threat. I'm terrified to go back to my apartment, terrified to stay here, terrified to check my phone. That whisper, "You invited me in," echoes in my mind, louder each night, woven into the creaks, the flickers, the hum of Sarah's fridge. It's not just in my head anymore. It's in the shadows that move when I'm not looking. The tapping that follows me from room to room, the way the air feels too still, too alive. I don't know if it's a hacker, a stalker, or something else. Something that slipped through a digital crack I didn't know existed. The internet was supposed to be my lifeline, a place to find answers, but it's a maze of dead ends and warnings, each click pulling me deeper into its grasp. If you get an email from a blank sender, don't open it. Don't click, don't reply, don't even think about it. And whatever you do, don't give out your email address. It's not just data they're after. It's you. I don't know how much time I have left. Writing this feels like a mistake, like I'm carving an invitation into the void, giving it permission to come closer. But someone has to know. If this is my last message, please don't make the same mistake I did. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video.